The most famous bowl of ramen in Japan? It's not Japanese. And in its original form, it didn't even have broth. Zero, not a drop. It started as a street food, fast, cheap, eaten standing up, paid with a single coin. No restaurant, no table, just a man, a bamboo pole and a street corner in Chengdu, China. So how did the dry noodle dish travel across the sea and become one of the most ordered bowls on the planet? Chengdu, capital of Sichuan province, sits in a basin surrounded by mountains, so damp and foggy that locals say the sun showing up is a holiday. Maybe that's why Sichuan food fights back. Sichuan peppercorns don't just burn your mouth, they literally make it go numb. The Chinese call that sensation mala, hot and paralyzing at the same time. Chengdu has more tea houses per square kilometer than any other city on earth. And in the 1800s, its streets were full of men with a very particular kind of shoulder pole. That shoulder pole had a name, Dandan. A long bamboo rod balanced across one shoulder with a pot hanging from each end. One held noodles, the other held sauce. The vendors who carried them walked the streets of Chengdu, calling out to anyone hungry enough to stop. No tables, no bowls you'd keep. You ate standing up, you paid a coin, and the man moved on. That's where this dish was born. Not in a restaurant, on a street corner, in someone's hands, in motion. The noodles were coated in chili oil, ground pork, preserved mustard greens, and Sichuan peppercorns. That numbing spice that makes your lips feel like they've been highly electrocuted. The dish was fast, cheap, and wildly popular. And it had no broth whatsoever. Wait, so when did the broth show up? It didn't show up in China. It showed up in Japan. And that's where the story gets interesting. In 1952, a chef named Chen Kenmin arrived in Japan from Sichuan. He had cooked in Wuhan, Nanjing, and Shanghai. He had survived a civil war, and he was determined to bring real Sichuan food to a country that had almost never tasted it. He opened a restaurant in Tokyo and put dandan noodles on the menu exactly as he knew them. Dry, bold, peppery, no soup. The Japanese customers were confused. They pushed the bowls back. Here's the twist nobody expects. Shane didn't give up. He went back to the kitchen and started over. He softened the Sichuan fire. He added sesame paste. He stirred in a rich, warming broth. And suddenly, the bowl felt familiar, felt like ramen. His wife, whose name was lost to history, had suggested it. One quiet suggestion in a Tokyo kitchen, and it changed the dish forever. He called it Tantanmen, the Japanese pronunciation of Dandan. Same name, completely different dish, and Japan had a new obsession. His restaurant, Shisen Hunten, became a landmark. Decade after decade, it kept drawing crowds. And then his son, Chen Kenmin, took the family's cooking onto national television as the Iron Chef Chinese. A whole generation of Japanese viewers grew up watching him work. Tantanmen moved from restaurant tables to ramen shops on every corner, in every city, across the entire country. And now, here's the loop closing on that open question from the beginning. Japan's version of the dish grew so popular that it started traveling back to China. A dry noodle dish from Chengdu crossed the sea, got a bowl of broth added by a woman whose name was lost to history, and returned home as something the world had never quite seen before. That is what food actually does. It doesn't stay where it started. It moves, it adapts, it gets quietly transformed in someone's kitchen. and it becomes something the whole world orders. Follow the history, not just the recipe. More dishes are waiting.